welcome to another stream. Let me make my voice slightly louder. Actually, today I need to use my cell phone to check if the stream is working. So let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, I like the levels, so let's continue. And I'm gonna open the browser for me to keep an eye on the chat. I like the levels. Okay, so I have the chat over there, and then another one for Twitter. And people are thinking, why are you not showing this? Because it's in the other screen. But let me just go over here and see. There we go. So this is what I'm seeing, and in a minute I will make it more readable, because I know for a fact that this is too small. So let me just go here. Different chats. Maybe one more for Twitch. Amazing. Okay, so please go ahead and chat. It's always nice. Last time we had a better time in the stream because people were actually chatting. So that's way more fun. Is any of these making any noise? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, so welcome everyone. Last week I was in lovely New York City explaining changes to Arcade, how to use Arcade MCP, which is the new framework that we are releasing. It's quite awesome. So what I'm planning to do today is, in order to also get familiar with different MCP clients and so on and so forth, I want to use Arcade MCP, make an MCP server, and connect it to multiple clients. I know I can do it over the HTTP streamable transport, but I want to do it also with standard I/O. Alright, so the standard I/O transport is going to be the default to get all of the goodies from Arcade. So as I document that, I want to test it myself. Today we're drinking Monster Energy White, so very tasty. So let's go to the docs. So basically I am improving up on this document, which is our quick start, and also this one, create an MCP server, right? So there are some things that are changing, and the old way of doing things is not gonna work anymore. So we need to change it into the new way of doing things, right? Which is all fine. I just want to test, for example, the standard I/O transport and connect it to Cloud Desktop and everybody else, right? Because I was doing, and I don't think I have it here actually. Yeah, it's in one of the PRs in the docs. But basically the docs I want to write today is, I have a server created with Arcade Neo, and I want to connect it to all of these different, to basically any MCP client, right? So Arcade has, let me actually show you this. And when I'm here, let me just make it bigger for everybody. Here we go. So Arcade has this command. It's called arcade configure, right? And you can configure basically any of these three clients: Cloud, Cursor, or VS Code, right? Because each MCP client has its own way of connecting to an MCP server, and there is slight variation in how you need to do it for each of these MCP clients. And what I'm trying to do is document, okay, what if I don't want any of these, right? What if I want, I don't know, open code or something, right? I don't even know if open code has, let's see, docs, MCP servers. You can add external tools, open local server, remote servers, and they don't do auth, right? So there are all of these kind of things, right? Like I love open code, but I don't use it with MCP normally because of these kind of weird things. Yeah, exactly. Like you can define MCP server in your broken config under this and this. Like, yeah, you need to kind of do all of these, right? And then, yeah, you see type local, and then this is the command. Like, there are some common patterns that I want to capture into how these are managed per MCP client. And of course, like ultimately you will need to point people into how and where to put this for their specific thing. I cannot just give you, and I wish I could, right? Because it would be nice if all of the MCP clients would allow a configuration to be like the configuration. Like if you go to the model context protocol, I think you can go here, MCP inspector. I think actually the best guide for this is maybe, like here. Well, this is a specific, like a kind of special thing because you actually need to connect here and you choose the transport type, all of that, right? I think here is where they have like all of the different, this is kind of how you export this stuff, right? But this is mostly how it looks like. You get like for the standard IO, you get the command that the MCP client needs to run in order to connect to this, the arguments, and then some other things, right? SSC, honestly, I don't think anybody with a sane mind uses this, but you could. And then streamable HTTP, right? But I don't know that the type is actually like necessary. Like this is something specific to each client, as we see in the open code documentation, for example, right? You get type local, right? And then if you go, type remote, it has to be remote, right? And here it doesn't really tell you which transport it's using, right? So it could be SSC, we don't know, right? I mean, I guess I can figure it out if I go and open the source code of these, which is open source. But this is a non-standard thing, right? So the type, it really depends on your client, right? But enable true is something that we need here. Headers is something that maybe we need here, right? Yeah, type is required, but then here the type is not remote and local, because local, well, would be the command. Like, you can infer that this is a standard IO one because it has the command, right? And then here command is so it's still early days of making all of these very useful. And I think like cursor install links, you get all of these also, like install, you put the name, and the configuration is a base encoded base 64 encoded string, I suppose, right? A JSON configuration, and the JSON will be also like looking like this, right? So they will have their own little commands into what do you need to do in order to actually connect your server into their client, right? So a bit annoying that it's quite heterogeneous what you need to do for all of these clients, but there are some of these patterns. Like, one of the patterns is for sure commands, maybe arguments. Like, arguments is something that I wanted to use, but I don't know, like for example, this one doesn't seem to support it, right? Like, the command here is just like that, right? So what I want to kind of stress test, I suppose, today is what is the minimal number of things, or like a reasonable number of things that I can just tell people, no, these are the variations, go check the documentation of your client, but here's the information that you need. This is the command, maybe you need to put it in this format, maybe you need to put it in command and then a string of a list of arguments, because we don't know how all of these clients handle this, right? So right, then let's see what are other clients about MCP. Compatible clients, there you go. Oh my god, I wish I could rank this. Like, I wish I could sort them by like, just give me the ones that are most complete. I'm gonna pick like, of course, like the most famous ones, and then so like cursor, what doesn't support discovery? Yeah, okay. Fast agent, prompt sampling, route solicitation. Ooh, nice. Junkie, like, for example, anything, well, tools is the one that everyone supports, right? GitHub Copilot supports all of that. So that's why, VS Code, then Cursor, and then I guess Claude. Where is Claude here? Claude Code, oh my god. It doesn't do sampling, it doesn't do discovery. And this is by Anthropic. Interesting. Also Cloud Desktop. That's interesting. Cloud AI also not. I mean, I guess like the ones that are web and sort of like competing in this way, like I would expect all of the Anthropic ones to be like super green here and like at the top. But there you go. I don't know why they are not giving so much attention to this, but there you go. So Cursor, Fast Agent, maybe. I mean, what of the ones that we don't support can I just do? MCP agent. Let's chat. No way. It's like nothing is supported. Smithery Playground could be interesting. Super interface. Said no. There are many things that are kind of missing. Want to kind of go to their they have a list of clients. Servers. Example client. This is not what I want. So the MCP inspector is something I'm gonna try, right? It's not here. Okay. Well, so this is a special client, right? That kind of debugs the thing. So if let me actually just start with the thing. So arcade new. I have so many servers. Like just let me okay, new Mateo. Okay, so that cursor here, and then so I need to be running okay, so this is running in standard IO mode. Whisper secret. Arcade user ID none. API key present false. Because it wants that from my environment. So oh, did we create a new? Oh yeah. Oh, because it has a pipe project in it. I don't want that. Oh my god, I deleted the incorrect one. I got everything. Oh. Okay. So I'm gonna just create a new environment. So this API key is something I'm gonna delete because I learned my lesson that it's difficult to hide this from streams. I'm gonna try though. So here, this is the default project. I need to go to demos. Actually, I need, and this is something cool that we added, projects. It's awesome. Just gonna revoke. So yeah, this is the Megaforce one, which I know Megaforce is broken. I will fix it, but not today because I want to do something cooler and also test and document everything so that you also can do stuff as cool as I do. Okay, so let me create a new API key. Let's see, stream delete, create, copy. I'm not going to say that again, so you guys you guys get to see this. I'm gonna move this to my window. See that? I'm gonna create this arcade API key is that. Let's save it, close it. So if I move this here, yeah, server, we get all of the goodies. So here, if I say Python server stbio, okay, so something super cool that we can do, and I will change this to the streams profile, which is even bigger. Actually, let me ignore that. Yeah, and I just wanted to check that my face is not in the way of the code or the chat or any of the important bits that we want to read, and it isn't. So if I open a new terminal here, and I can say delete that one, say arcade configure. I don't think we can do this with I think we documented this already, so let me go ahead and look at the docs. I documented this already, but I don't remember, so let me just go ahead and logs. It's in one of the pull requests. Yeah. This is exactly what I wanted to fix, by the way. So let's look at the parcel render docs. Yeah, something like this. Arcade MCP, yeah, not quite. But the thing is, so what happens is that I think this will run a new. Let's test it. So. One Python server stdio, and I want okay, we have that. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, the thing is, Python is not generally available for me like that, right? So what I actually want is say sort of this, and then each Python. So this is the Python I want to use. So then I need to go here and tell it, hey, no, like use that. No, no. Right. What if I API key present false? Why? Okay. What happened to this other one now? Actually want to know that, so let me go ahead and change this, see what happens. Why is this not working? Okay, let me just delete that. Oh no. Okay, let's try a different one. I'm gonna move this. Maybe I'll just go. What if I open a new terminal? Okay, so that works. I guess if I use everything, boom. Start. I guess this is one of the what's the error though? Arcs. Okay, so that worked. And then API key present is false. I am so curious about that. Pansu says, hey, oh my god. Yeah, so a friend from university in London says hi. I really say hi back. I hope you are liking MCP servers. Okay, I don't think it's gonna do it though. Oh yeah, I did it. Whoa, okay. Amazing. Okay, let's see if that same thing works for cursor. Because I think it's gonna be a different so this, let me just bring it to the okay, so whoa. Yeah, so that worked. So I guess what I want now. So is bring that there and also that there, and change the music. We are going into. I want to actually generate some I want this that how do I say? It doesn't do. Leave black frames. Okay, fine. By V. Let's see what. So wait. I think that should have finished. So let's, yeah, boom. The thing is, like, I wonder if I need to know this now. Wait. Right. Okay. Damn. IVX, yeah. Not there though. I'm gonna install everything now. We'll see. So, okay, one thing that I don't like about this TDIO is that, yeah, so these, let's see, MCP server, everything, yeah. So I guess I copy the super command from here, right? Arguments space separator. And I don't need to, oh yeah, no, I need that. No, not that. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. And this, oh well, this one. So this should not work, right? Because there is no secret. Yeah. Right. So one thing I didn't do correctly in the documentation that is obvious now is that the standard IO one, I need a better way to define where the secrets are, right? And I guess like that's something that is weird because it's not that I can just connect to like I can do that here, I guess, right? Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Something like that. Then start tools. Yeah. So this is what I wanted, and I know I need to set an environment variable for this, but that's annoying to deal with when I'm running. I think like I want the server to just load the secrets, but I don't want them. So I want too many things. What if I go here? No, yeah, of course. Like yeah, this is not doing anything, right? So okay, MCP help. Right. So if I use this instead, and I just say like This picture. Yeah, like I need these. Yeah. So what? A couple of things that I already understand just from this testing is that I didn't do a good enough job at documenting the standard AO story, because there are a couple of considerations that I just realized now. Because when you think about an MCP server, or when I think about the word server, I think about a process, and I guess this is like just my mental model, because I think about servers as web servers naturally. And I know that MCP servers can be, and I guess most of the times will be, web servers, but that is not necessarily true, right? So if that is not true, what happens is that I need to really be thinking about the kind of server process rather than like an actual web server, right? In this case, like here, for example, I actually have two processes running that are this MCP server, right? And here, I don't have, I am not pointing this to a specific environment file, for example, right? So that is something that, that I need to be better documenting, right? Like maybe for this, I need to say inputs are something like that. Yeah, as an environment variable, but this is true to a certain extent, right? Because that environment variable needs to live in the same kind of, I want to say in the same terminal, but it's in the same kind of process session as whatever is starting the server. And in this case, it will be the client, right? So the client will be actually like bootstrapping the server as a sub process, and maybe that's a sub process of the actual client. Let's check that actually. So I think it's htop. btop. Mac. Brew. I'm liking Brew less and less these days, but I have it already in this machine, so let's just do it. If any of you guys have a better thing compared to homebrew that I could try, let me know. Okay, so nice. It's even got this kind of fading effect, which is pretty good. Okay, so I'm very new at this, so I want to search filter. It's gonna be no, that's totally useful. It's gonna be, what's the name? Python. To see the tree. So electron is too okay. I want to make it smaller, but also I know it's gonna be very difficult to see, but I want to see the parents of this cursor. Yeah, this one. How do I make it? View. Command minus. So this is Visual Studio. Code Helper is the thing, the plugin that is doing it. And then this, yeah, the parent is Cursor Helper, whatever, which is like the clone. Then this is one password. Tmax Ghosty. I guess this one, yeah. And it's like, yeah, a couple of sub processes deep into the inspector, right? So this is the MCP inspector. that we are running. Then this, I guess, is one of the specific ones. Let me see if I can read. Yeah, so this is the client, and then yeah, this is the server. Yeah, we have, okay, so I see what's going on. So basically we are like three, let me just reset this. Basically we are very deep into the, process subtrees when we get to these points, right? And that's not great, because it means, if I want to do this, I cannot really, I need to run, I guess, the MCP server as a sub-process of the MCP client. That's why everything is like super secure over there. But then, like, I need to be able to tell the MCP client every time to load that specific environment variable into its environment. And I don't always control that, right? Like, it's not true, unless I put it in my, profile file or whatever, that secret will be always available for the MCP client. So that's unfortunate, because what I want to do actually is have, not hard code the thing, and then also have, what do I want actually? Yeah, so I don't, basically, like, if I come to the code, right, I have my environment here, and I want to be able to point to this thing directly from the code and have the thing load, right? So I guess what I want, let me try here. I don't know if I have this, like, so let me see. Exit. Do we have python.env? Yes, nice. So from this, just gonna do that, right? So the thing is, this, I think we'll want to load it from let's try. Why not? If I go here, let's see. That should call, run. Ooh, you did it. Nice. So I guess if I restart this one as well, API key present true. And now we get the my secret key over here, which we didn't before. Oh no, we did. Oh wait. I know we didn't. Yeah. Okay, so that worked, which is, I'm happy about that. So maybe this is something that we should add into the server to make it easy, so that we ensure that whatever you put next to the server.py is actually loaded into the environment of the script that is running, especially if you are in standard IO, right? I think that's a good thing that I learned today, which is, it's a better way to do secrets, because basically, for those that just joined the stream, because I'm looking at the number of people that are watching, for those who just joined, if I comment this, it's gonna give me a warning because I'm not using the thing. But then let's use this one, which is I guess a better server. I restart this, and now I get two things that are different. So this is the last restart, and I get API key present true because it's on my .env file. But this is actually running from anywhere in my system, right? So I pointed to that command and that specific thing, and I just say standard IO, right? So if I don't load the .env file, I don't get the thing. So then if I ask for the secret here, tell me the secret, right? It's gonna go connect, start it now, trust. Use the MCP tool, whisper the secret. Oh my god, that's taking a long time. Maybe I need to change this into like some simple thing. Allow. So this should, yeah, it failed, right? So it failed because it says I don't have this secret, right? Although like I copied this from this guy, right? Where my secret key is clearly available close to the server, right? But if I uncomment this line and I just simply load the thing, right? Now I restart and let's go back to VS Code. So here we don't have the thing. There are two things that will be different. So the API key will say true, and then we will get a new environment variable here. Actually two, right? So we will get the arcade API key and this other one, right? So I restart the server, we get the logs, we get the arcade API key, which will set this to true. So API key present is now true, and my secret key is now in the environment, right? So if I go here and open the chat and I say try again, it should just call that tool again. Maybe ask for permission again. I don't know exactly how I don't use VS Code that often, even though it's actually a better MCP client, so I may allow, always allow. Yeah. Yay! So I did it, right? So what I'm trying to think is whether I cannot add this to a tutorial or just to the environment, right? And why do I say this? Is because this same code will run in two different transports. It will run in the standard IO transport, which is annoying because we need to deal with this kind of weirdness where we need to load the environment explicitly into the subprocess to load, our arcade API key and the secrets that we want to use with our MCP server. Yeah, because that's a problem, right? So I guess I could do it in a different way if we have this command called arcade MCP, right? And it will tell me which transport it is, right? And I can define the command working directory. And this is the other way to do it, right? So I could, I suppose, and let's try this actually. Like which arcade? Let's do that. Let me just reconfigure this because this is the better one. Let me move this to another one. So here, I'm gonna copy this. Oops, and I lost my. I'm gonna change this into whatever I copied here. Arcade, MCP, transport is that, and I want CW B. So and this is gonna be whatever. So this. So basically, it is really where this guy lives, right? So I need the environment to be present in that sub-process. And the way I can do that, the way I can point people to that specific sub-process from the MCP client is by literally telling, hey, like go here, start the process here, right? So that's the place where the sub-process has to live. Which is an annoying thing to do, but it will allow me to not change the thing, right? So I have two options. I either add this kind of like weirdness where I tell people, hey, you need to configure your environment in a way that the MCP client has access to the specific Python environment. Like, this is something that you need to do, right? You need to go say which Python, get this thing, point it to the specific server, but you already did this, and then call stdio and configure this load env, right? So that's one thing you need to do maybe. The other thing that you may need to do, or the alternative way to do it, is still do like which arcade command, and then also pass whatever you want to call your server from. Like this is gonna be the environment file, and I guess do we get environment? Yeah, or this, right? Which is actually better, right? So I guess I could just say env file, and then .env, and I guess that's more elegant, right? So I can specifically tell the arcade CLI, if available to the MCP client, where to look for this stuff, right? So where to look for environments. And that will help me. I mean, it will help my process, I hope. So let me just, I will stop this one. Okay, I'll save this one. Stop, and then start this one. What is it? Failed to set MCP server log level. What if? What's it? Oh shit, I need to do both. I mean, this works, but if I do this, it's just gonna work, is it? Right, what I forgot to do. Yeah, that works. And let's see. Whoa. Yeah. Then I'm just hoping, you know what? I want something quick. GPT mini. Yeah, right. Yeah. LLMs are very nice, but then when they take ages to do the thing, I want to do. I mean, come on. What the? You know what? I want whisper the secrets to me, use MCP. Oh. Come on, there's no context, just go little. Oh my god, working, what the hell. I'll create a short to-do list. Okay, just run it. Oh no, shit. No, this is not what I want. Stop. I want to delete that because it started that server on its own. Then, boom. Yep. Right. So the LLM is still processing the data, but we know already that it works, right? So why did it work? It worked because if we say arcade MCP, and let me just try and maybe it's still there. Yeah, okay. So these are the two ways in which we can configure this server, right? We can say, here's the Python version that I know has all of the libraries that you need. And here's the server file. And the only command that you need is, say, stdio. Right? For this to work properly and actually load the secrets that are in my environment, I need this line here in the code, right? I need the load.env. So this will point the server to the companion file, which is the .env, right? And now I don't need to hard code the secrets, right? The alternative is coming here, say, hey, here's where the arcade command is, and here's the current working directory is gonna be from that specific place where the server lives, right? And why do I need this? Because arcade MCP will detect what is the server, right? So if I go here, it will run MCP servers and detect basically the local servers and so on. So it will go into here, look for all of the Python files, and I guess server name default none. Yeah, we'll just discover. Yeah, this is changing as I speak, but basically, before I could tell it like look for the server.py, but now I guess it will just look into all of the directory structure and look for all of the decorated functions. And the way that looks like is gonna go here and see if we have this decorator, right? So for that, I need to actually point it to the correct arcade CLI version, right? The one that is tied to the virtual environment where I, with which I used to create this project, right? So it is all a little bit complicated to do standard IO. So there is a lot of things that need to happen in order to configure this correctly. So I'm kind of debating internally what's better, right? Do I tell people, hey, like this is the way you should do it, and then ensure that this is the version of arcade, like the complicated one, is what you want, right? Because the only way to get this one is, well, not the only way, but like the easiest way to get this one is a which arcade, right? From with the virtual environment active, right? So if I deactivate this and say which arcade, right? Arcade not found. So if I just do it, if I just say arcade, it will not have it, right? So I need to go here, activate the environment, then which arcade will tell me the path to the right binary, right? And also Python, like which Python, right? Which happens to be in the same virtual environment, right? I just honestly don't know which one is better, right? Because for both, I need, whoa, I need to change the song. Go back here, boom. Yeah. For both, I need two full paths so that they work correctly. I need the path to the binary and the path to the server, right? And I need them for different reasons, which is like the annoying bit, right? Well, technically the path to the server, I only need it if I use Python directly, but I need the path to the directory if I use arcade. And maybe that is not necessarily true, actually. If I go to where the server was installed, I think I can say vp install something like that. Yeah, so these should work, I think. Let me go one level up, arcade MCP stdio. Will it detect? No, fell, no tools found, maybe all. Yeah, so this is another instruction I could give people, right? The difference here is that what I did is I installed the server locally into that virtual environment from the source, like pip install -e dot from whatever I got. So now if I list this, like right, it will tell me Mateo is that project that I just installed, and this is where the path is. So I'm giving this, like more esoteric way for Python to find the right thing, right? And it's not great, but it is better than nothing. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all of this into writing and ask my colleague what is the best way that he would recommend, right? All of them will require some level of like at least running the which command And the main problem I have with that is that is a less universal way to do it, right? Especially thinking about folks running Windows, right? So if you're on Windows and you need to know which command this is or which virtual environment it is, I don't know, you can just do it, right? If I say which is a built-in command, right? So if we go here and say like which command Windows where, yeah, so where.exe, where.exe, yeah, I don't know. Get command. Where, yeah, all of this weird stuff from Windows, right? So everything. Yeah, like all of this stuff is like GCM. Yeah, and all of this stuff is like, yeah, weird stuff that maybe like Windows user will not know how to do. And then I want to be, beginner friendly. So I didn't want to rely on like a built-in command such as which, right? Like UV, I just point people to UV's documentation and they go, they install it, and all is good and fine, right? For something like Windows, should I also like get the equivalent to which or something, right? I don't know. So yeah, I learned something today which is useful. I am thinking as I speak about how to document this. So I'm gonna try and give an outro to the stream. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. So let me just go back into OBS. I will switch to just a face and record an outro. Okay. Thank you everyone that came to the stream. In today's stream, we did a deep dive into standard I/O as a transport for local MCP development. We figured out the common commands. I'm gonna say that again. In today's stream, we dove deep into how to use the standard I/O transport for MCP and specifically local MCP development. We figured out how to deal with environment variables, how to get secrets and API keys with multiple commands using Python or using the arcade MCP command. And I will be documenting that into our new docs for you to have it easy. Until the next time, guys, happy building. All right, thank you for to everyone that came to the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a more exploratory video compared to the other ones. Thank you, Mateo. Good luck. Thank you so much. This is gonna be, I hope, like the last very exploratory video. I'm keen to start building Megaforce again, and I'm going to be integrating a lot of the MCP stories back into Megaforce.